There's a kind of loneliness today that doesn't look like loneliness. You can be surrounded by people, connected to thousands online, constantly stimulated, and still feel like something inside you is quietly breaking. Not because you're alone, but because modern life has disconnected you from yourself. Today's loneliness is different from anything humans have experienced before. In the past, loneliness came from physical isolation, being far from others, being separated by distance, by circumstance, by the limits of geography. But modern loneliness is something far more subtle, more invisible, more deeply woven into the way we live. It shows up even when your phone keeps buzzing, even when you're talking to someone, even when you're sitting in a room full of people who know your name, but not your inner world. It's a quiet ache, a feeling that you can't fully explain, a sense that something fundamental is missing. Because in reality, you're not lonely due to a lack of contact. You're lonely because of a lack of connection. Real connection, the kind that makes you feel seen, understood, valued, is becoming rare in a world that's constantly pulling your attention everywhere except inward. And this chapter is about understanding how we ended up here. Modern life moves fast. Too fast for the nervous system, too fast for emotions, too fast for relationships to form the way they used to. We scroll more than we speak. We text more than we open up. We communicate more, but connect less. And when the mind is overstimulated, something strange happens. Your inner world becomes quieter, but not in a peaceful way. It becomes quiet in the sense that you stop hearing yourself. You stop checking in. You stop noticing your emotional signals, the ones that once guided you toward people, places, and experiences that felt meaningful. This creates an emotional gap, a distance between who you are and the life you're living. That distance is where loneliness grows. You start feeling like you're drifting through your days, like you're performing rather than living, like you're surrounded by noise but starving for depth. And here's the hardest part. You look around and it seems like everyone else is fine. Everyone else is busy, productive, entertained. So you begin to wonder if the problem is you. It's not you, it's the environment we're all trying to survive in. Modern life is engineered for speed, convenience, and efficiency, but not for connection, presence, or emotional nourishment. We've created a world that gives us everything, except the one thing we actually need to feel human: belonging. This video will help you understand where this loneliness comes from, why it's happening to so many people, and how to slowly rebuild the parts of you that have been dimmed by the pace of modern life. But before we fix loneliness, we need to understand it. We often think loneliness is about people or the lack of people, but the truth is much more complicated. Loneliness today isn't just emotional, it's structural. It's built into the way modern life works, and that's what makes it so hard to escape. Let's slow down and look at what's really happening underneath the surface. For most of human history, life was built around community. Shared work, shared meals, shared struggles. People lived close, relied on each other, and formed connections out of necessity. But modern life flipped that entire structure. Now, when independence is praised, isolation is normal, and connection is optional. We live in a world where you can work alone, shop alone, eat alone, and entertain yourself alone without ever talking to another human being. On the outside, it looks convenient, but internally, it slowly erodes the basic human need for belonging. Technology was supposed to connect us, and yes, it keeps us informed but not intimate. We scroll through endless updates, seeing people's lives without ever being part of them. We watch, but don't interact. We react, but don't connect. It tricks the brain. We feel socially full the same way junk food can make us feel physically full. But the nutrition, the human warmth, is missing. This creates a silent emptiness, a kind of emotional malnourishment masked by digital stimulation. Then there's the pace of modern life. Everyone is busy, everyone is stressed, everyone feels like they're just trying to survive the week. And when people are overwhelmed, the first thing they sacrifice is relationships. Not out of harm, but exhaustion. So everyone pulls back. Everyone isolates. Everyone assumes everyone else is too busy, and slowly the distance between people becomes the new normal. Another hidden layer of modern loneliness is the pressure to appear fine. We live in a culture obsessed with image, success, confidence, independence. And because everyone is performing, no one wants to show their vulnerability. So even when we're surrounded by people, we feel alone with our thoughts, alone with our problems, alone with our fears. It's not that we don't have people around us, it's that we don't feel safe enough to be real with them. And finally, there's the psychological trap we don't talk about. The belief that loneliness is a personal failure. People blame themselves. I must be uninteresting. I must be awkward. No one wants me around. But in reality, you're living in a world designed for separation. It's not your fault. You didn't create this system. You're simply trying to survive within it. Modern loneliness is not a weakness. It's a symptom, a consequence of an environment that disconnects people by default. And understanding this is the first step toward healing it. You're surrounded by people, yet you still feel alone. That's the paradox of our time. Today we live in a world where connection is everywhere. Notifications, messages, likes, mentions, a constant stream of digital activity that keeps our minds stimulated, but our hearts strangely untouched. Because what we have now is the appearance of connection, not the experience of it. Let's slow down and understand why. Social media didn't create loneliness, but it amplifies it. It gives you a front row seat to everyone else's life, filtered, curated, polished. Moments captured at perfect angles, words thought through, versions of people sculpted to be admired. And your brain, whether you intend to or not, begins comparing. Their laughter, your silence, their relationships, your distance, their milestones, your waiting. This comparison doesn't just drain you, it convinces you that you're behind, that you're missing something everyone else seems to have. And slowly the gap between you and the world widens, not because you're disconnected, but because you're connected to the wrong things. The truth is, we're more reachable than ever, and yet more unseen than at any point in human history. You can message someone instantly, but that doesn't mean you feel understood. You can scroll through hundreds of faces, but that doesn't mean you feel close to any of them. You can talk to people all day, but that doesn't mean you feel known. Digital connection gives you just enough interaction to feel like you're not isolated, but never enough to truly nourish you. It's like drinking seawater. You consume more and more, thinking it will satisfy a need, only to feel emptier than before. And then comes the silent damage. We become afraid of real interaction. Awkward silences, eye contact, vulnerability, honest conversation. Digital spaces let us hide. They let us control the version of ourselves we show. And eventually the real world begins to feel too raw, too uncontrollable, too exposed. So we withdraw, bit by bit, without even noticing. But loneliness isn't created by a lack of people. It's created by a lack of depth. And modern life, with all its convenience and speed, pushes us toward the shallow end, where everything moves fast, but nothing sinks in. This chapter ends with a simple truth. We are not lonely because we are alone. We're lonely because the world is teaching us to stay close to everyone and intimate with no one. In the next chapter, we'll explore something even deeper: how loneliness has become the default state of modern humans, and why your brain is wired to feel this way in today's world. There's a strange paradox in modern life. We have never been more connected, and yet we have never felt more alone. And the truth is, most of us don't realize how deeply this illusion of connection is shaping our emotional world. Let's slow down and unpack this. We live in a time where connection is everywhere, but intimacy is rare. You can message anyone instantly. You can scroll through thousands of faces. You can talk to more people in a single day than your great-grandparents did in a month. And yet, you can go entire weeks without feeling seen or understood or emotionally held by another human being. Because in modern life, connection has become shallow, fast, convenient, disposable. We trade depth for speed and emotional presence for constant stimulation, and our brains can't tell the difference. Social media gives the appearance of connection, but not the experience of it. A like isn't love. A comment isn't care. A notification isn't nurturance. A streak isn't support. A seen message doesn't mean you were truly seen. Yet the brain registers these tiny signals as small social rewards. They keep us going, but they never fill us. It's like drinking salt water. You sip and sip, thinking you're quenching your thirst, but you're only getting more dehydrated. Modern loneliness is often crowded loneliness. You're surrounded by people, online, at work, in public, but you feel like an observer, not a participant. You're present, but not connected. You're visible, but not valued. You're surrounded, but not supported. And because the world keeps moving so fast, you rarely slow down long enough to notice the ache building inside. Another problem is that modern conversations have become fragmented, short, surface level, rushed. We talk, but we don't reveal. We interact, but we don't open. We share, but we don't connect. Everyone is distracted. Everyone is overwhelmed. Everyone is trying to manage their own internal storms. And so the space where deep connection would normally grow remains empty. We also romanticize other people's lives without realizing they're lonely too. When everyone seems busy, social, productive, happy, you start believing you're the only one who feels empty. But millions of people are hiding the same feeling behind curated posts and forced smiles. Loneliness has become a silent epidemic, not because we lack people, but because we lack presence, real presence, human presence, the kind where you put your phone down, the kind where someone listens to your voice, not just your text, the kind where you feel safe showing who you really are. And here's the painful truth. The illusion of connection is the single biggest reason modern loneliness is invisible. We think, I shouldn't feel this way. I talk to people every day. I shouldn't feel lonely. I'm always online. I shouldn't feel empty. I have so many contacts. But loneliness doesn't come from a lack of people. It comes from a lack of meaningful bond. And until we understand that, we'll keep confusing noise for connection and wonder why we still feel alone. If you've made it this far, take a slow breath with me. Because this final chapter is not about loneliness. It's about what comes next. We often talk about loneliness as if it's a personal failure, as if being alone means something is wrong with you. But the truth is far simpler and far more compassionate. You are not broken. The environment you live in is. Modern life separates us from each other. It isolates us, overstimulates us, and distracts us until connection becomes something we chase rather than something we naturally live inside. But loneliness is not a dead end. It's a signal, and signals can guide us. So let's talk about how to rebuild connection in a world that constantly pulls it apart. 1. Reconnect with your inner world first. You can't form deep bonds when your internal world is loud, scattered, or neglected. Connection begins with slowing down your pace, listening to your emotional needs, creating moments of quiet, being honest with what hurts. When you reconnect with yourself, something subtle shifts. You stop searching for any connection and begin seeking the right ones. Loneliness becomes direction, not punishment. 2. Replace passive interactions with intentional ones. Scrolling is not connection. Liking a post is not connection. Watching someone's life online isn't connection. Real connection is built through depth presence, vulnerability, shared moments, emotional honesty. Try replacing one passive digital moment each day with a small intentional one. Send a thoughtful message. Call someone. Share how you've actually been feeling. Ask a meaningful question. Tiny acts, repeated, rebuild the threads of belonging. 3. Let yourself be seen again. Loneliness often grows because we hide the parts of ourselves that feel too heavy, too complicated, or too strange. But connection thrives where masks fall away. You don't need to reveal everything at once. Start small. Share a fear. Share a dream. Share a memory. Share a truth. When you let someone see you, even just a little, you give them permission to meet you there. And that is where connection breathes. 4. Build community, not just relationships. Humans were never meant to live in silent isolation. We evolved in circles, tribes, shared spaces, collective rhythms. Connection becomes stronger when you place yourself in environments where it can form naturally. Join a group, step into a class, attend a gathering. Show up somewhere consistently, not to make friends immediately, not to perform, but to exist around other human beings who are also quietly craving connection. You'd be surprised how often community begins with simply being present. 5. Understand this one truth. Loneliness is not the absence of people. It's the absence of feeling connected to yourself and to the world. But connection is rebuildable. It is learnable. It is recoverable. And every moment spent healing your loneliness is a moment spent returning to the human experience you deserve. A life where you feel understood, a life where you feel seen, a life where connection is not rare, but natural.